today, and we're gonna have a lot of fun.
All right, thanks, Perry. Thanks, Pam. And I think Barb's going to pull up an image that you may have seen online on Facebook. Those of you in the room possibly saw on Facebook as well too. So this image here of Pam, and we did get permission before we put it on display. So thank you, Pam. But it's the bottom line here: silent but deadly. And this is how I wanted to introduce Pam today to all of you, and just welcome you to what I believe is going to be just a great hour, a great conversation, a lot of great takeaways for you. So years ago, when I was a team leader, I was sitting in John's office, and Pam was working out in the computer area there. And I'd gotten to know Pam at this point. And what I got to know about Pam is quiet, efficient, very good at her work. She knows her work. She knows the form. She knows what to do. She might get into some of this when she tells you a little bit about her history. Yet this is what I'd known of Pam up to this point, and I just kept monitoring Pam, yet just very efficient, yet very quiet, and just does her job. Just comes in and just on target, on cue. So I come out to visit with her in the computer area there, and I said, Pam, what I like about you is you're like silent but deadly in your business. And she goes, oh my gosh. That's what's on my senior picture. And so Pam and I, over the years, we've always known this because we talked about it, but I'm always like, and again, and I remember telling Rosie one time about this, and those of you that know Pam, you're going to have just a great time today just hearing from her, because she really runs her business in a very stealth-like way, very purposeful, very intentional, and very profitable. Her clients love her. They repeat business. You're going to learn things about how she lead generates, asks a number of great questions. And if I'm not hearing some things, I'll pull some things out of her today too to help all of you, because this is, like you said yesterday, Perry, out of all the people that we've had here, I'm very grateful that you're sitting here, Pam, and I'm very excited about today. But she is totally silent and she's deadly. So again, with that being said, enjoy the time with Pam today. I'm going to, and Pam, we're really grateful. Yep.
Woohoo! All right, welcome. Thank you all. Just give us your journey. Tell us about how you got into real estate, 4KW, yeah, all that fun stuff.
Back in probably 2003 or 4 or so, I was a stay-at-home mom, and I just was a little bit bored in the afternoon. So I thought, well, I'll just get a job. So I applied for and got a job as front desk admin person at the Remax in Chanhassen, where I live, from noon to 4. So, I filled out forms, and so that's all not new to me, and answered phones, wrote down on a slip of paper when there was a showing, stuck it in a little slot, and the agent had to get it. We had to call people. It was a crazy time. And then I met Connie Shippert there, who was with our office for quite some time. And then I started working for her as her personal administrative assistant. After that, I worked at a smaller boutique office in Chanhassen, and that's my start.
So got licensed when?
A license in 2010.
Oh, so not that long ago. So 12 years.
12 years, and it was not a great time to be in the business. And my husband did say it at the time, but he thought that was a dumb idea.
How did you respond to that?
Well, he didn't tell me until much later. That he thought it would fail.
So we get licensed in 2010. How did we build our business? What did we do first?
I went to Caldwell Banker in Eden Prairie for 2 years. Connie invited me to take a look at Keller, and I moved over here in 2012.
For those who don't know Connie, you want to just share?
Oh yeah, Connie is an awesome agent. She passed away in December, so we do miss her.
So just paint us a picture of like the first year in the business. What did you learn? What mistakes did you make? What, if I'm Pierre sitting here new newest licensee in the room probably, right? What advice would you give him in that first year?
I would advise anyone in their first year to, and it's so simple, but it's hard, just to talk to everybody you know about real estate and just always be talking to people, to collect contact information in a database, work the database, be in connection. That's what I would tell people.
And was that a challenge not being as social?
What are you saying?
I'm saying well,
just
I'm saying you're silent but deadly, right? So as someone who, again, I've probably known you forever too, it seems like, not someone who naturally outwardly talks a lot is a fair thing to say, right?
Yeah, it's very fair.
So was that a challenge in the beginning or?
Oh, sure. Yeah, because, you know, I'm not bubbly, gregarious, or, you know, like,
Yes, you are.
super charismatic. And so what I love about Keller is the growth. What I just recently recognized is how much I love to grow, and the trainings are fabulous, and I just take in everything I can. And so that helps. I'm really about into the personal growth, and that has helped me to develop my strengths. You know, maybe I'm not the most talkative person in the room. Maybe I do just kind of sit back and watch people as an introvert. But that can also make me a really good listener and a person who connects well with people so that they feel heard.
The amazing lesson there is it doesn't matter what your behavioral style is, you can adapt and crush it in any way that works for you. So we're at Coldwell Banker, she says, check out KW. How did that all go? I mean, obviously you're here, but what was that process like for you?
I remember sitting and it was Ken Olson was the TL at the time. And I remember sitting in there talking with him, and he told me all the, you know, benefits of being with Keller. And one of them was get your own name on your sign panels. And I said, are you serious? I get my own name on the sign panels? Because that was just, don't even do that at other brokerages. So he reassured me that was the case. That was just one thing that I remember, that it was all about respecting the agent, growing their business. It was so much more about that. It was about the agent. We are agent centric as opposed to company centric, which I love.
So you joined?
Yes.
And I know Matt will for sure, but as we're going here, you're going to think of a question, just ask anytime, right? There's no script. So tell us about, it's funny because when I asked Pam to do this, she's like, well, I just work. And I said, you know, very officially, you work well. I mean, truthfully, based on the turnout online in here, we have probably more people here than we've had for every session this year. So you're very highly respected. And yeah, so with that, we know you just work. And what I'd love to talk about is just systems you have in place that have worked really well for you and your business, whether it be, you know, 33 e-touch, 36 touch, open houses, contract proposal, like whatever you want to share, what works really well for you.
My day is I don't do it the Keller way. Okay, we're supposed to lead gen from about 9 to noon, 9 to 11, whatever it is. I do not like that. So I do tend to do my busy work in the morning, actually, and then my lead gen, or I don't even call it that, but it's, you know, I just consider reaching out to my people and talking to them, and so I do it in the afternoon. I used to joke that I would have a glass of wine in hand, but after a while, I learned it's not a good idea. I don't have a wine until after.
Is there a story there?
At least not much. And so, yeah, I do my busy work with just, wrapping up details and things like that in the morning. And then lead gen, okay, this is what I do. I make, it's just so elementary, I just make, like, say I do 10, I want to do 10 touches a day. I just make 10 little slash marks in my binder, my scheduler, and then I write, as I do them, I write the names. Okay, so it's super simple. And then usually I have command open in front of me, and I will make a note in command about what I talked about, if they picked up, things like that. So I have a record of my communication with them. I do not count if I have a conversation with them. I just count every time I just get call and text. I always follow up a call with a text. I figure, you mentioned yesterday, Perry, that really struck home with me as you mentioned an incident where you had texted and called, or you had texted or messaged them, but they hadn't heard your voice.
Right.
Yeah, or you hadn't heard their voice, but I'm thinking, I want them to hear my voice, even if they don't pick up, even if they don't ever respond. I'm really okay with that. To me, that still counts because they have seen my name, they read my text, they read my message, or they listened to my voice. That matters a lot. And I do have clients, even a closing in August from somebody that I first got as a Craigslist lead back in October of 2012. So that's a long nurture. I'm in it for the long haul.
How do you, so I'll ask this and we'll go to the question. How do you decide, like you start making contacts, how do you decide who to call on what day and what?
For a few months ago, I listened to a training by a group in Chicago, and the way they do it is that they break up their database into 3 chunks according to last name. So this was a lot of work, but I went through my database and I divide up into last name A through H, I through Q, or something like that, and then that final chunk. And so then the idea is you do A through H, you call them in January, so you do it per quarter, and then that second group of people, the middle of the alphabet, you call them in February, and then the third group is that last part of the alphabet. And so that does keep you in connection, presumably 3-4 times a year. And then they also get my emails as well. I don't have a number. It's not 36.
And when you reach out to, Mr. Anderson, what are we saying?
Hey, Perry, thanks for taking my call. I know it's been a while since we met.
Yeah, hi.
Hi. It was at an open house in Victoria a couple years ago. That time you were just kind of thinking of being out in the western suburbs. Did you ever end up purchasing a house?
Yeah, I actually just bought with Kim Guild.
I wish you would have called last month. No.
Sorry, Pam.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
follow-up, basically.
Oh,
So, and it's probably different for every person based on the
Yeah.
relationship.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And how about the folks that aren't, and we'll get to the question, how about the folks that aren't necessarily in the market or from an open house, but you and I are friends from whatever. What do we say to them?
No, that's just more personal. Just curious how your summer's going. How are the kids? What are your special plans this summer, your vacation? That's more personal. And I do listen to the pivot shift ahead phone call in the mornings, and they're very strong on they call them care calls, especially during COVID. We made a lot of them.
And if I don't know what that call is, if I'm new in the room, what's that?
This is a check-in. I mean, I'm going to talk about real estate.
Meaning, what's the pivot call? It's a Facebook group.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Sorry.
That is James Shaw, who is an excellent coach. He has been a TL, and he started a call in COVID, like I think it was March of 2020, just to kind of keep people's spirits up, agents. And now I know there are over 100,000 people who either join every day or listen. I just listen to the recorded call, and I get so much information and good advice from KW agents across the nation. It's so valuable.
If you're not in that group, Barbara, it might be worth us posting the link to that actual group, then y'all can join. It's a good group, so. Question online.
Has Pam farmed a specific geographic area or some such? And if so, how important is this to them?
I am focusing on my neighborhood. I live in a neighborhood in Chanhassen, about 76 homes, and I am going to do a party there this summer, but I have not specifically farmed an area for any length of time. Not my thing.
So to that point, most realtors have a few pillars of business, one of which is Sphere. Do you have anything else?
Open houses. Networking. That's probably pretty much it.
1 second, Joe. So what's the open house strategy? I mean, do you have anything special you do there that you'd like to share that'd be beneficial?
I do door knock as much as possible at least 40 homes around. I have and invite people. So I leave I do these printouts. It's 2 flyers per sheet of paper, and it's on bright yellow paper. So I actually door knock. I want to talk to people, then I also leave the flyer in the door so they can see it because it's bright yellow, and invite them to the open house. And then I don't always do this, but I should. Once it's sold, then I do the postcards through command as well.
Nice. Joe, question.
Pam, on your open houses, what's your follow-up? And then the follow-up to that question. Do you buy these? Have you?
I have them sign in, and then I do follow up. The goal is to follow up that very same day with a phone call and or email. I put them in my database. I mark, that I tag them as an open house lead. And then, one thing I should mention that I also have the pipeline spreadsheet open on my laptop all the time. It has several tabs. So because sometimes I forget people, I put into command. So I have a tab for open house, buyer, seller, special search. And I did for a time buy realtor.com. So I keep those in a portion of the spreadsheet as well. It just kind of keeps them, I just flip through it from time to time, helps prompt me if I don't want to go into command. I'm not in the mood for command.
I get it. Great question. Who else has questions? Woo, fire away.
So for your open house, when you get people to sign in, are you standing at the front door with the things like saying, sign this before they come in, or do you set it down in the kitchen and say, as you pass by in the kitchen, sign that thing for me?
Great question. I was gonna,
What's the process?
I have some marketing material on a kitchen table or counter, and I do leave a sign-in sheet there. And I do, when they're passing by, I try my best to remember their names. When they walk in, I stand back. I'm not in their face. I stand back and I wait for them to come in, and I don't know if I shake their hand or not, but I introduce myself and then they tell me their names. And then when they're in the kitchen vicinity, I point to the line on the paper and I said, we would just ask you to sign in. Seller would like you to sign in. Sometimes I say that.
Seller. Blame it on the seller.
I do blame it on the seller. And then if they, forget to give their email, I put one in as soon as or their phone. I fill in the blanks so that the next person will also give their name, email, and phone.
Thank
You mentioned that they get your email back when you're talking about your various outreach. What is your email that goes out to your database?
I pay for a service called Happy Grasshopper, and that goes out once a month. I really like Happy Grasshopper. It is kind of light and fluffy, but it's, I have people at least see my name. It's not market stats or anything like that, but it's a little bit of something real estate related, and you can tailor it to your whatever you want to do. And also, those of my people who have an address, I do sign them up for a monthly marketing, a neighborhood market watch, whatever that's called. So they get that once a month, those who have an address. That's on command.
The neighborhood,
Yes.
monthly neighborhood nurture email. Yeah.
That's an awesome email.
Joe?
So Pam, your numbers have increased this year. Done any research to find out where that's coming from? Is it referrals? Is it new business? Is it? What are your thoughts? Where do you think it came from?
I have not looked at that specifically at this time, but I would say the vast majority are referrals and Sphere as clients.
We know that you listen to Pivot Shift Ahead in the morning. And I know that you listen to a couple other podcasts. What are those? And then I know that there's something else that you do that you don't feel like you've done your job for the day. Do you want to share with us those things that you do?
Sure. Well, yeah, I am a podcast nerd. I absolutely love them and I listen to a lot of books. I just got yesterday The Power of Regret by Daniel Pink. And I'm also listening to, again, Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss.
That could be great.
Power of regret, right?
Daniel Pink. Yep.
And then what, never split the difference?
Yeah, Chris Voss.
Good one.
Yeah, Atomic Habits is a favorite book of mine as well.
And you, these are all via audio or you, audible.com? or-
I know, I'm cheap that way. I just go to the library app. Library has an app for reading.
Libby?
Yeah, I love Libby.
And then follow up to those questions. You haven't completed your job.
Unless I have made my at least 10 calls. And to me, I mean, I don't dread that part of the day. I actually really enjoy it. Because to me, it's my job, number one. And I also, because of our market coming up, or what we're in, I am going to add numbers to that list rather than just 10. Now I have more time to do 15 or so and continue to develop those relationships and nurture and follow up. Yesterday, I called somebody I haven't talked to for 10 years. That was weird, but I did it. And it actually felt, I was so proud of myself that I actually was, I got over the fear. And he was perfectly fine and I didn't die and I was totally fine.
So to take, one second, Barb, to take that a step further, and this is a huge lesson for all of us. We feel like we didn't do our job today unless we make 10 calls. Is that just we made the 10 dials, we talked to X amount, or is it just we made, like, what's the mindset there? Does it matter how many we talk to, or?
Well, I always wanted to, okay, so that is a good point because sometimes we feel like if we can't do 10, we're not going to do any.
Yeah.
And but yes, I do really want to do at least 10, but like I said, I need to ramp that up. That is my job.
But if you leave a voicemail, you do count that.
I do count that, yes, because I follow up with a text.
And then of the 10 calls, how many people daily do you think you actually speak to?
Okay, well, yesterday, for example, I did 10 dials. I actually talked to, or they texted me back after I texted them, five out of 10, which is actually pretty high.
That you spoke to or that texted you?
Well, both. Okay. Yeah, I literally spoke to 3 and then 2 texted me back.
So there's a back and forth dialogue there, 50%, that's pretty good.
Yeah, for that day, it was really good. It's not always like that.
And then when you talk to other agents, do they sometimes spur you on to call other people maybe that you forgot to talk to in the past?
Yeah.
Sounds like a
It does.
No, it's just good to talk to other people, right?
Yeah, certainly.
Especially other agents and
Mhm.
talk about things that are going on.
Oh, yeah, I don't count that necessarily. Are you saying it? Do I
No,
count
I'm
that?
not saying it's
No.
part of your 10. I'm just saying sometimes that it helps drum up other business. maybe you forgot
Absolutely.
About or.
Yeah, yes. And I, think about people who don't have their license anymore. about those people, stay in touch with those people. I have a list of those too.
Barb, then you.
Pam is super busy, I know. I know she's also very detail oriented. How does she possibly find time to lead generate and not lose control of her transaction? Follow up to that, is the only way to do that to work 60+ hours a week?
Well, all right, so I don't have I've signed up with Home Free TC, but I've not used them yet. So I will. That is one thing that I have a hard time giving up because, I can whip up a PA pretty fast. And yet I know that's not good. I don't want to be doing that. I need that up.
Karen can help you through that.
I've been pushed and I'd be happy to push you.
This is a long process.
Oh, stop it.
I learned that from Pam.
So how many hours a week are we working based on the question? What was, they were asking if we're 60+. What do we think we work per
Oh,
week?
no, I don't work 60+. No. I try to. I do focus on it heavily through the day, I'm an empty nester. I don't have kids who schlep around or anything, so I do work pretty consistently through the day, 8 hours a day, and then weekends as needed. It's just, it's the life of a solo agent.
Hopefully that answers the question. Hugh, and then Joe.
Do you use social media to keep in contact with your clients?
Yes, I forgot about that. I do have a social media manager who creates content for me. So yes, she does 3 posts for me, LinkedIn, Insta, and Facebook. Three posts a week on all 3 platforms.
I bet someone else is wondering, what is that? Was that hard to find someone to do that? And what does that type of investment look like?
I paid her $500 a month. And was it hard to find her? I found her through Jane Morrison, my coach.
Oh, Jane's your coach? I saw Jane on here. Nice.
All right.
Welcome, Jane.
Oh,
Cool.
there she is.
Nice. And how has that investment been for you as far as the,
ROI.
yeah.
I would say there have been at least, I'd say I've gotten at least 2 deals from my social media, and I guess the main goal for that is just to have a presence and be credible, or just to be out there. I guess I don't really look at it as anything that is kind of a pain and I got to do it.
Well, and it's easy when you get busy to not do that.
Yes.
So having someone do that for you is huge. I mean, I've personally experienced a lack of posts due to just being busy.
You said 3 on all 3 platforms. Is that 9 total or 3 of the same on each?
3 of the same on each.
Joe, then Bryce.
So I know Pam personally, she's a mentor of mine since day one. And one thing about her, she's a great manager. That's why she can do all these transactions. She's a great time manager, because you'll know that when you come up and try to talk to her about something, she'll do this nonverbal stuff. Talk to you right now, and you go, great. I wish I were more like that. She's a great time manager. That's how she can do all this.
Would you agree and you want to expand on what he said?
Joe's a talker.
I just shut my door when Joel comes around. Am I a great time manager? I guess so.
And have you always been that way?
Really don't know. I don't know. I would hope so. I think there are skills you learn along the way.
Bryce.
I would just piggyback on the social media question. My question, you find more conversations take place easier with your clients, you're more approachable. Social media,
Well,
wanted to add as the goal, like not the deals, but you find people asking you more questions about real estate.
Oh, for sure. That's a good point, Bryce. Yeah. Because, you know, it doesn't, the likes and the comments don't matter at all. Well, I mean, I guess they do if you're in social media, but I just figure it is just, you know, it's just another. Because they will say, people say, oh yeah, I saw you sold that house. You know, they'll comment later, even if they don't online.
You said you're planning a party for your neighborhood. What are you gonna do?
And to add to that, do you do other events throughout the year or what's out?
Take advantage of all the Keller events, like the Shed and Shred and the holiday party, pumpkin thing. Do all of that. And then in the past, I have tried to do some things different because before COVID, I did hire a girl band and did an event at Brewery in Excelsior. Did that 2 years in a row, which was fun. It was a good thing to do. And then last year I did the Arboretum. That was much more successful. I would definitely do that again. It was way cheaper. It was more casual. Just a better event all around.
Elaborate on that, on the arboretum.
Or I just hired, or rather I rented a picnic portion. And then they charged me, I don't remember, I joined the Arboretum. I live out there, but I never go. And they charged me a certain amount. I'm sorry, I can't remember. And then they asked me to guess how many people would come. I was way off. And it was way more than I expected. That was good. People just got free entrance. They showed my card, my postcard. They got free entrance. And they were directed to the right picnic area. They could stay the whole day. And I had Jimmy John's and some drawings. It was a great event.
Did you collect RSVPs somehow for that? So you know roughly how many Jimmy John's to get?
Yeah, well, we ran out. Yeah. So, yeah, I did collect RSVPs and then we ended up getting more. And then I did get a good, you know, I did have people sign in for the drawings and give me all their contact information and ask, you know, who do they know? I asked if they knew of anybody who needed some help. So that was really good to update database too. And you get a couple of referrals.
What time of year did you do that?
It was October. It was the best day ever.
Perfect all day.
Plan that way.
Yeah.
So the event at your neighborhood. Planning for that.
All right. I had such a great idea called Fainting Goats and Root Beer Floats, but I can't find any fainting goats.
Did you call the people that had the fainting goats?
Yes.
Did they help you?
They don't want to help me.
I thought Tom Miller had a goat contact.
They did not get back to me. And so, but there is a goat breeder website, y'all. Did you know that? I emailed a bunch of those and got very little response. And the response I got was no. So now I'm going to do a pop-up bar and hire a magician. That's kind of my idea right now for the fall. So I'm working out the details on that. Just for my neighborhood though. This is not going to be, I want to get to know my neighborhood. Not for my sphere, it's for my neighborhood.
Are you doing the Arboretum event again in the fall as well?
Not this year.
You can mix it up.
Several questions. here. Hold tight, Joe. We're gonna go to Rosie, then Matt, and then we'll come back to Mr. Joe back there.
Hi, Pam. Do you partner with vendors, loan officer, you know, anyone to put on these events, or is it just you self-funded? Are they chipping in?
I have done both, but I probably go it alone more often than not. They have contributed to gift cards and things like that, but I bear the expense.
All right, I'm gonna do a very quick recap, because would you all agree that Pam's soft-spoken?
Yeah.
Yeah. Am I a little more loud and big than Pam?
She's here, you're here.
Yeah. So this is going great. And those of you in person, you're welcome, because Perry, thanks for lining this up. Yeah. Because, and those of you online, and I just told Kelly, those of you that aren't here, listen to the recording. I'm going to recap a couple things here very quickly, and then we'll get back to some more questions. But one of the things I want to start with is, Pam, are you having a pretty decent real estate year?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you had some years that haven't been so great? Yeah. So one thing you need to know about Pam is, even when they're not great, she's got a long-term play in this. So she believes, and we've all learned that she works, right? She's talked about 8 hours a day. So even in those down years or those not so great years, she's working, she's doing the activities. She just told you she hired the girl band 2 years prior to COVID. She does the Keller Williams events that we do as an office. She's got the one that she just did at the Arboretum. She's got one planned already for the fall. She works. A couple other things that I've heard already. And when she talked about James Shaw, pivot, shift ahead, did you hear that she says, did you say you listened to the recording? Okay. So when's the call? The call's early in the morning, right?
Yeah, I think
7 a.m. or
7 a.m.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when do you listen to what I'm doing here is, just so you know, as you're running the business, she's one of the most profitable, successful solo agents that we know. She would be an unbelievable rainmaker for some of the things that Joe talked about. How she leads, and how she leads by example, is amazing. So really what I want to do is recap this quick, so you really are taking notes and you start applying some of these things. When do you listen to the recordings?
8 o'clock.
Okay. So she's got a plan. She's got a schedule. This is something that I know about Pam. Her pipeline. What did she say about her pipeline?
Always has it open on our computer.
Yes, she's got it there to review. So those of you that don't have your pipeline ready to go, get it ready to go. And it's okay if you begin today, but she's got it there to actually glance back at. Okay.
And that spreadsheet's downloadable if you don't have it, if you don't want to recreate the wheel.
Yep. And I loved it too. There was a question that says, Pam, you purchase leads. And what did you say?
Yes.
Yes. At one point. Yes. So this is one of the things that, as you look at it, she's running her business and she's looking at different avenues, how she can actually get her business. For a long period of time, I did some things on relocation where you're paying out 35% or more. I think it's more now. And you're just like, wow, that's crummy, but it's building a business. Happy Grasshopper, you've been doing that forever. I know we talked about that. She's been doing that forever. She's consistent. She runs a play and she keeps running it, folks. Okay. You had a month this year in her business. Her GCI was more than some of you will make all year. And I'm sorry to say that, but it's true. But that literally was in a month.
What was the number? Do you remember?
The number of that was around 90.
Yeah.
GCI of 90 in a month.
90,000 in a month.
Great.
So, but this is because what she's doing. So this is why I'm just recapping this quick. We already talked about Jane. I made a note that she's got a coach and Jane's online. Love that. Talked about the events. I really liked when she said earlier, when Perry was talking about behaviors, and Pam said she listens. And this is one of her most powerful tools, because she listens, she reads the books. I loved it. Now, did you say, and when Perry said Audible, did you say that you listen on the freeway?
Free, yeah, the free app from the library.
Bingo. This is how she runs her business. I love this. The other thing I just want to close with, and we'll get back to some more questions. The entire time frame that I've known Pam is she shows up. She is at virtually every single mega interview that Perry's had. She's either here in person or online. All the trainings we've had over the years, she's in the room. She's listening. She's always taking something away. She's always seeing how she can actually add that to her business or incorporate it somehow. So I hope that you're all doing that today. I just wanted to say this kind of mid-time. I'm really proud of you. Thank you. All right.
Good job, man. Question.
Matt answered it. I couldn't hear what Pam had said, but he captured it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was gonna ask.
Joe, you got another?
What's your budget on the landscaper, the arboretum?
How much should I spend?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say a couple thousand.
Since it was so successful last year, why are you not doing it again this year?
Because my assistant got another job, and so I feel a little overwhelmed and not really able to put all that together. That's why I'm sticking to my neighborhood, which I think is actually a good substitute and more manageable for me right now.
Oh, Jill Morris.
be, what does it be, create, what is her?
Be memorable. Yeah, she's helped.
It's very reasonable, and she's a great help. When did you hire an assistant? At what point in your career here?
It was about 4 or 5 years ago.
Full-time or part-time?
She's part-time.
And where did we find her?
My sister?
She's your sister?
No, my sister's
Oh.
friend.
Any thoughts or advice or just around the hiring process, or if you don't have her now, because if it was the same one, are you gonna hire again, or let's talk about just admin support for a minute?
Yeah, I do miss her. She was just so great. She was just she was so supportive, and even though she didn't show homes or write offers or anything like that, she was somebody I could talk to and commiserate with. You talk about clients, and she would know different things. She would help me with staging. So, and pop buys, I would do pop buys where she would put them all together and then drop them off at people's doors, which was actually very effective. It's a great way to be in touch with people. I don't know what I'm going to do about that, Perry.
Can you talk a little bit more about what your pop buys are like and what you bring?
Well, yeah, she would do that. So we would just agree or just discuss a theme. I'm trying to think of some things we did. I mean, they were kind of cheesy, kind of weird, kind of cute, but there's a website called Popeye something. There's a website. If you Google Popeyes, there's tons of really good ideas and that are seasonal.
You did a windshield wiper one year
Yeah.
or last year. Or...
Well, we've done about 3 a year. So we did a lot for a while.
Who do you come back to?
To some to Sphere, and especially to people that I haven't been in touch with for a while, that I, like phone calls, people I've never met, and I still want them to know, that I'm a real person, and it's just a way to show up. So it's all over the board, the different people.
Have you ever had a desire to be a team, have a team, or do you just enjoy being a solo agent?
I have thought about it, and maybe as my business, in 10 years, I might want to exit in a way of joining a team, perhaps, just to not have all the responsibility. So I don't see myself as part of a team or being a rainmaker, per se. I do.
Let's talk about the market for a second. What are you seeing? How are you interpreting it? And what do you share with your clients?
I am seeing a slowdown for me personally. I am reaching out to buyers right now that I have just to encourage them to get back in the market and to tell them what's going on right now. Setting seller expectations, certainly. And I'm going to double down on my lead gen or my people that I call.
Every one of us in the room should be doing that today. We good online? Questions? Anything? I got a whole list of questions here. We can just keep firing away. Otherwise, you guys keep asking. Do you have a favorite failure or a biggest mistake you've made that you don't want others to repeat?
I think just thinking, especially when I was at Coldwell Banker, I thought I had to try everything, like got to tweet, you got to blog, be on video. There are so many things that you can do, but if you're just not comfortable with that, don't take that on. I would tell people to not feel like, just to find your own things that bring you, a real sense of satisfaction. And I'm more of a one-on-one person, so I'd rather just sit down and talk with somebody one-on-one. Rather than I don't want to be on camera. I don't want to be on video. So.
Thanks for doing this.
One thing I do want to talk about, though,
Let's do it.
at the beginning of the year, I was listening to some podcasts, this podcast on the one thing. Jeff Woods, who was moderator or host of that podcast, he was being interviewed on one of the ones I listened to, and I didn't even know there was a one thing podcast until then. So I listened to him talk about, things that we've read, like the 7 circles and how to, how to do the one thing. And the 7 circles is a part of it where you write in 7 circles on a piece of paper, you write down inside a circle, spiritual, personal, physical, health, key relationships, job, business, finances. And now that I look back, I think it's so interesting that the way he listed them was in order, and the last 3 are job, business, and finances. So the first 4 are more important. So I actually thought, okay, I'm so not motivated to set goals. Money is, it's really fun and all that, but I'm not motivated by it very much. So what can I do? And I really wanted to grow as a person. And I realized that COVID has done a number on some relationships in my life. And so I thought, okay, I need to change some things here. So I really sat with the 7 circles.
This, if you don't know what she's referencing to, right?
Yeah.
Keep going.
I made a list under each one of the things that I wanted to accomplish with, not even with a plan for each one, but I don't know, something was missing in my life. And Jane really helped me a lot. She listened to me talk, and she said, how about this? I think this is your mission statement. And it was design a life that is God focused or God centered with a focus on relationships. There's nothing in there about business. But I started making my list of those things that I wanted to do. And my personal list was actually longer than any others, which was not new or not something that I would normally do. And my business one was super short. And the job and the finances. I've been I look at that every day. And I think about the things that I want to accomplish. I really use that to form my 411. One thing that I have done is to join a gym because I have weak bones, and so I need to strengthen. And so I've always wanted to join a gym. That was important to my physical health. I found a gym in Chan that you can just go in and work out for half an hour. I have a personal trainer. So awesome. I've always wanted to do that. It's so great. It's so great. I just love it. And I'm seeing results. So I'm proud of myself for sticking to that list. And about key relationships, I've been working on that, and how do I show up in my kids' lives? How do I show up as a stepmom? So I'm a grandma. How do I do that? So being more intentional about relationships, and I think that's actually been my focus this year, and less so on my business. But the business, I've had my best ever. So I think through the end of August, I will be just a hair under 11 million. And I've never done that well. But I'm not. But again, my focus was on my spiritual life and my relationships. And somehow the business got there.
Maybe could you tell about your $3 million properties that you sold? I think that's an important part of.
That's a big part.
Yeah. But I mean, how you got that business.
Oh, okay. So I had a $1 million listing. That was a past client. I held a broker open in that listing, and just a regular buyer walked in. And he did not buy that home, but I met him there the following day just to kind of meet him and get to know what he wanted to do. In the meantime, we got an offer on that $1 million property in Edina from another couple who had a home to sell. So my We accepted an offer that was contingent on the sale of another home. The buyer that I got at that broker tour bought the home of the buyer of my $1 million property. So it was a circle. And so that made for a really good month.
Was that the one right by 50th and France there? I remember that broker open.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah.
Well, that's just about doing the activities. And I did hear a speaker, I know he's a CEO of like a Fortune 100 company once. Even he said, you know, I don't focus on my goals, I focus on my activities. And I thought, wow, that is so cool. Because, you know, the goal, even according to the one thing, is the purpose of a goal is not to achieve the result, it's to become the person who can do the activities. I'm saying I'm really screwing that up.
No, you're not.
Makes sense.
Yeah, become the person. So that is what is so cool about the one thing is to, and I you know, we can just forget about what I want to do, 40 transactions, 14 million, whatever. I don't even think about that number. I just continue to do the activities that make me be the person that can actually meet that goal. That was really a breakthrough for me this year, to become the person who can meet that goal.
Is anybody else wondering what are some of the other things you wrote down, or the 7 circles that you want to do? Is there anything else you can share?
Can you say the 7 circles again as well?
Here, we got it, right?
Or is this something we can look up?
Yeah, so the 7, you want to talk about this? I mean, go ahead, it's your show.
The Pam show.
Well, I memorize them in order because to me, I think the order is important.
And that was done purposefully,
Yeah.
if you have the book. So spiritual life. So the question is, if you haven't read the book, what's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary in each of the circles? So spiritual life, physical health, personal life, relationship, key relationships, job, business, finances. And again, to Pam's point, these are at the end.
Was doing the podcast at the time.
Jeff Woods was the host. Yeah. But just Google or just go on Apple or whatever and grab that podcast. And so what's that saying about your people don't determine their future, they determine their habits, and their habits determine their future.
And the one thing too.
Yeah. So I actually do credit my mission statement of focusing on or design a life that is centered on God and focused on relationships.
Sorry, I'm confused. Is that from a different book or is that from the one thing?
From the one thing.
Okay, so
It's a page in the one thing book.
got it. So there's not a book called The 7 Circles.
No.
I should know the page number and I don't, I'm sorry.
Oh, my God.
Okay, you're fired.
So we have 6 minutes. What have we not asked you that we should?
No, I am going to share a little something. So today is July 21st, right? And my life changed forever 24 years ago today when my husband died. So the reason I share that now is because when I think about just the progression of my life, and I'm realizing that I have more years behind me than I have ahead. And so that's a big part of my life too, to have more impact on my children's lives and my family. And, you know, and the business is fun. I love it. It's fun. It's challenging. And yet it's really it's just so not important. So, and I don't mean, this is not to bring the room down at all. It's just a part of my life. It was 24 years ago. I am just really, really grateful to how, what my life has become. It's, God has blessed me tremendously, tremendously, and very grateful. That's Joe.
What's your favorite music genre?
Rock and roll. It is rock and roll, yeah.
Rock and roll. Who's your favorite group? Still back.
Well, you missed the intro. Yeah.
We played our walk-up song.
Oh.
Freak on a Leash by Korn,
So for those who don't know that part of you and or anything else you want to share personally, what do you do for fun? What, all that stuff.
Boy, what do I do? I did want to go to 5 concerts this year, but honestly, there's just not any that are good. I do like to go see music. Well, and here's the thing too. Back to my other life. My late husband was right before he died, and this is very interesting. I think he was named Rock Program Director of the Year. He got a national award, and we lived in Omaha at the time. So my life back then, I got to go backstage to, various concerts, and I met some fun people, and it was a great life. So maybe that's just part of me trying to, my love for rock is just kind of a part to connect this life to that one. It was good.
Air Supply Rock.
No. Neither is Julie.
Truth bombs.
We had 2 minutes. What other compelling questions do you have for our special guests? And thank you for doing this.
What do you do to get your mind right?
Podcasts and walk. Sure.
Any advice you'd give us in all your years of wisdom in this journey?
Yes, maybe we should. Is that picture still up? No. I was gonna say, I can't take myself seriously after seeing my high school photo.
That's too cool.
Yeah, just to really, honestly, to enjoy life, to treasure it, to really place high value on relationships and people and family. Most important. And have fun. And to really, have a good team of people around you. We are an awesome office, as you know. And we are, you're my people. I love everyone.
What do you think helped you the most from 24 years ago?
God? Yeah. Faith. As a matter of fact, when I saw that high school picture, which I had not obviously seen for a long time, and we had to pick a verse. I went to a boarding school, Christian boarding school. Actually, I had to go my last year. But that's another story. I got in a little bit of trouble. Good for you. So that verse was Psalm 27:1, and so I looked it up, and I don't, your 18-year-old brain, but that verse is, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid?" And I love that. I was only 18 when I grabbed that verse. I don't know what was going on, but it's a good life verse anyway. And I was glad to have a chance to take a look at it again. So thanks, Matt, for dredging that up.
Awesome. All right, with that, I think that's a perfect way to close. Thank you for coming today. This will, to your, whether you like it or not. We'll be on video if you want to watch the recording. And I challenge each of you to share this recording with someone else that it may impact. Because you made a huge impact on us, Pam.
Thanks, Barry.
So let's give a round of applause. Cue the corn. Thank you all. Appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, man.
Damn it. Get away. Good job, Sue.
Anyway.